Now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has aimed a thinly veiled barb at opposition leader Mark Golding, suggesting the PNP president's recent gaffe at a political meeting in St. Anne may have been due to him being drunk on power. Golding has issued an apology for uttering an expletive after becoming frustrated by a malfunctioning microphone as he addressed comrades in southwest St. Anne last Friday. Speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday, Dr. Holness warned about the inebriating effect of power.
There are things that I will readily admit that it is not within my control. And politics, it is like liquor. When you drink too much of it, you get drunk. And people get drunk on power. But even the fumes of power can get you drunk. Some people have gotten drunk on just the fumes of power.
Dr. Holness also had words for the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell.
There are those who have used the political stage primarily to bring down people, thinking that popularity can be earned through profanity. But I say to you, as I have written to my political party to say, we are not in a race to the gutter. It is said that the General Secretary of the opposing party has said that if we go low, they go lower. We don't join that. We are not into that. No, we can't do that. The Jamaica Labour Party does not and will not trade the dignity of the people for denigration and disgrace. No, we are not going to do that.
Dr. Andrew Holness, JLP leader and Prime Minister. He was speaking at a gospel concert hosted by the JLP's Area Council 2 in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Sunday. Meanwhile, chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, says the profanity used by Mark Golding at a PNP meeting last Friday exposes the double standard that undermines the opposition leader's aspiration for higher office. Fitzhenley was speaking at a JLP meeting in southeast St. Andrew on Sunday.
Hypocrites. People who talk one thing and they do the next. Because that happened just a couple days after I'm going on a platform and say him condemn use of profanity. And him say him condemn the use of dirty bad words. But as soon as the mic lock off, him of course the same dirty bad words. A hypocrite that you cannot take by his word. He cannot be trusted to govern Jamaica.
Senator Abka Fitzhenley, chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force. The PNP president uttered the expletive on Friday following issues with the microphone while speaking to comrades at a party meeting in southwest St. Anne. The video of the gaffe was swiftly deleted from all PNP online platforms, but not before it was captured and shared widely on social media, going viral within hours. Mark Golding apologized for Friday's incident at a PNP meeting on Saturday evening. A future PNP government will relaunch the country's constitutional reform process, marked by broader national input and a more inclusive approach to decision-making. So says the PNP president, Mark Golding.
When it comes to constitutional reform, the PNP is committed to that. The JLP government embarked on a process, but it was a totally misguided process from day one. They appointed a committee, but they didn't really include the representatives of the civil society and other groups who should have been at the table. They selected who they wanted to be there. And they came up with a set of proposals, which is in a bill now before the parliament. Essentially, they are going to ensure that the prime minister can choose the president. And that is a recipe for autocracy in the land, and we will never support it.
The government has blamed the opposition PNP for putting partisan political interests in the path of the reform process. But Mark Golding is dismissing that argument. He says the details of the reform process are problematic.
They're also going to reconfigure the Senate so that the same president who the prime minister can appoint some senators, neutering the veto power that the opposition holds in relation to certain things in parliament, including extensions of states of emergency. When we become government, we're going to restart that whole constitutional reform process. We will keep those bits of it that make sense, but we're going to ensure that civil society has a major role in what we're doing, and we want to hear from the people. We are committed to becoming a republic. We are committed to having our final court being the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Mark Golding, a PNP president. He was speaking at a PNP meeting in Clarendon over the weekend. The opposition PNP is calling on the Integrity Commission to probe what it describes as consistent construction failures that have retarded progress on the second leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SHIP. PNP Vice President Mikhail Phillips made the call at a political meeting in North Central Clarendon over the weekend.
We want to call on the Integrity Commission that there needs to be an inquiry on the Southern Coastal Highway project. And I'm going to tell you why, comrades. After the Prime Minister cut the ribbon open for that highway 1 year ago, you still have the contractor digging up that highway with the National Works Agency saying that is bad material.
Multiple sections of the St. Thomas to Portland leg of the SHIP have collapsed due to what some experts say is substandard base material used in the construction process. In January, the opposition PNP urged the Parliament to undertake a special probe into the problems. At that time, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness noted that much of the damage was caused by leaks to water mains. The contractors say the project is 96% complete, but Mikhail Phillips says that the PNP still has questions.
Why so many failures? Who is it that certified the quarry that supplied them all? Who owned the quarry? And who are the consultants that was employed by the National Works Agency to protect the taxpayers of the country? If them can't answer that question, then from the Prime Minister to a minister down to the head of the National Works Agency should be relieved of their jobs, because some shikini go on in that project while taxpayers have to suffer the way that they are suffering.
Mikhail Phillips, a PNP Vice President. And Mikhail Phillips says roadwork projects like Spark will be overhauled under a PNP administration.
Spark is another program because election was coming. Them rushed the Spark in. When the PNP comes to government, we're going to have to really look at the whole road infrastructure. Because unlike the Prime Minister who only like to build highways, PNP is coming into the communities. We're coming off of the byways because every Jamaican matter, not only a few. We have to reorganize the road maintenance fund. We have a 10-year plan that we're going to come with, dealing with road maintenance with Mark Golding as Prime Minister.
Mikhail Phillips, a PNP Vice President. The JLP's standard bearer for South East St. Andrew, Kevin Frith, is optimistic about winning a seat that is among the safest constituencies for the PNP. Speaking with Cliff Hughes at a JLP workers' meeting in the constituency on Sunday, Frith says voters are ready for change.
When I go through the constituency and talk to the residents, they're not satisfied with the state of things in the constituency. They're really interested in having a change. There's a lot of roads in the constituency that has not been repaired for many, many years. The support for the Jamaica Labour Party is right across. I think this time, based on the work that we have been doing and the persons we have been talking to, people, they're ready now to show their support and come out and vote on election day.
Southeast St. Andrew was first contested in 1967. The JLP have won it only one competitive election in 1980 when former PNP Cabinet Minister Alan Isaacs beat John Jr. The JLP, represented by Winston Spalding, took the seat by default when the PNP boycotted the 1983 general election. Since then, Easton Douglas, Maxine Henry Wilson, and Julian Robinson have turned the seat into a PNP stronghold. But Frith, who's a businessman, says he's ready to make history.
There's a lot of youth in the community who are just basically searching for guidance. They need opportunity. There's also business people in the area who need certain support. There are elderly, there are disabled people several elderlies in the area don't even know that they can benefit from pension. And then there are several persons there don't even have a full understanding of certain programs out of the ministry. How I look at Southeast, it is as if it's a company in problems, and I'm coming in as the CEO to turn it around.
Kevin Frith, the JLP standard bearer for Southeast St. Andrew. A conspiracy. That's so Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has labelled a Sunday Gleaner article which alleges that a company, El Hydro, was allowed to import 110 school buses into Jamaica without proper licensing or certification. Minister Vaz has asserted that the Transport Ministry was the official and documented licensed importer of all the buses.
El Hydro would not require to be a certified motor vehicle dealer, which is a yearly certification that Trade Board issues, because these are specialized buses and they are not for resale. So this is a straightforward transaction of supplying the government of Jamaica with 110 school buses. They are the supplier by virtue of the contract that they won, and we are the importer, the government of Jamaica. So again, it is all a part of a political conspiracy with cohorts and co-conspirators, and nothing is going to derail this project to roll out September 2025. No amount of evil, no amount of wicked, no amount of bad mind, and no amount of misinformation. Take that from me.
On Sunday, the minister issued a statement declaring that El Hydro was authorized to facilitate the importation of the buses because it is the exclusive agent in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean for the manufacture of the bus model being used in the school bus program. He also sought to clarify that while El Hydro received permission from the Trade Board to manage the logistics, it was not required to be a registered used car dealer. This, as buses were not being imported for resale, but for direct use in the government program. The Transport Minister says he was not contacted by the reporter at the Gleaner prior to the publication of the story.
The headlines totally disingenuous and erroneous. The facts are very clear, and what I'm very concerned about is that the reporter wrote that article WhatsApps me regularly to the I don't quite understand why those